Curing AIDS is simple. Curing AIDS is like play to me, and it should be to you. What I'm about to do is what's going to frighten you, not the cure for AIDS. Getting to that stage was very easy. So in 1960, I told Tim and the rest of them that was there, Harry Nance, who's a drummer, he just passed. Harry was the first individual that mentioned a part of the human body to me.
I've been injured from the disease. And I started finding out that where I thought most of the damage from the disease had come on my right side, instead it was my left side. So you actually start learning, I started learning a lot more about my own the physiology, you know, by just taking the herbs. But emotionally I started feeling a lot better. I couldn't believe all the, I didn't know I'd actually lost the weight. I knew that I had the ability to walk up a hill, you know, and I was even smoking then. I was smoking fairly heavily. But I knew that I could walk up the steepest hill and not be winded.
One local man claims he can cure AIDS, asthma, diabetes, and other diseases without pharmaceuticals. Our Michael Brownlee is in our newsroom with more on this story. Michael.
Well, that's right, Harold. He's an immigrant from Honduras who never went to school, college, or medical school. Yet the man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be the judge.
The lump in Myrtle Rick's left breast is gone.
I haven't had any symptoms or problems, anything.
Sabrina Peterson's son no longer disabled by sickle cell anemia.
He has a lot of energy. I have to make him rest.
Disease is cured by this man. His name is Dr. Sebi, but you won't find a medical degree hanging from his wall. Instead, a certificate of healing.
We have complex things with science, but if we go back to God and use the herbs as God said, then you can see how simple it is. Then
Dr. Sebi believes what ails you can be cured with natural alkaline herbs and a vegetarian diet solely made up of what he calls electric foods, mushrooms, greens, and rye breads without starch.
Hippocrates established the principle of medical science by using herbs to cure diseases, then why the physician using the chemicals?
40 years ago, a doctor in Mexico cured Sebi of diabetes, asthma, and obesity with the very same herbs and diet he dispenses to all of his patients, whether they're suffering from lack of energy or full-blown AIDS.
That package is an intracellular chelation. I'm removing plaque from the system. I'm removing inflammation. That is the base for all disease.
And according to a medical affidavit provided by Dr. Sebi, it's working. It shows a patient diagnosed with HIV in November of 1993 was cured 2 months later. Thousands of patients worldwide swear by his methods and natural herbal medicines.
In the tiny village, Lisa sought guidance for body and soul from an herbal guru named Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi, you know, according to him, can cure anything. Everything from trying to lose weight to, you know, looking for a cure for AIDS. People go there with hopes and dreams that Dr. Sebi can somehow save them.
She had been through so many intense problems in her career and in her life and in her personal life that she didn't know where to turn. And this doctor, she said, had shown her how to really open up and cleanse all of the negativity out of her.
She told me she was suffering with alcoholism and that she was smoking excessively, cigarettes, drinking and smoking. She asked me, what do I need to do to stay on the side of peace? I said, fast, do what Jesus did. She said, what did Jesus do? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights.
Midway through her 40-day ordeal, an obviously gaunt Lisa spoke with MTV News.
I've been polluting my body for 30 years. 40 days is not a long time to me to fast. 40 days represents overcoming death. It's the number of days that Jesus fasted for, and I kind of feel like I'm on a journey sometimes. Don't really know quite where I'm headed.
At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God. She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, with the world.
Because when you go to the doctor here and they give you a prescription, you have no idea what you're taking.
That's right.
And when they tell you that the patient died but the operation was a success, you're okay with that. Well, I'm saying we are about to introduce the Minister of New Health and Wealth for our people, Dr. Sebi.
But in going into healing, I saw many, many things that upset many of my friends. One is, many of us call ourselves spiritual. Well, the word spiritual is supposed to mean that I'm really connecting with the perception of life in God. I am spiritual. I never claimed that, because I never knew what it meant. People tell me that they were, but I don't know what it means. But those same people that claim to have that particular connection with life, they call themselves spiritual. When I saw what they were eating, I know that they were undermining the position that they were trying to make me think the godly by. They were eating garbage. So naturally, I didn't want to eat garbage and be spiritual.
I have handcuffs on me because over the years I have been healing people in New York and round about, and my mother said, well, you've been telling people you cure AIDS and sickle cell and diabetes and the rest, and they look at you like you're stupid, so you're going to have to do the ultimate. And what's that? Put it in the newspapers, and then they're going to take you to jail. Put it in the newspapers, and I did. The Amsterdam News, the New York Post, and the Village Voice. AIDS has been cured by the Usher Research Institute. And we specialize in cure for leukemia, sickle cell, and Look what they did to me. My brothers and sisters in New York and Brooklyn were saying, man, why you want to put the ad in the papers and say that? Man, you're going to go to jail. I was able through my life to look at things from a simplicity position, from the simple way, from the common sense perspective. I was born in Honduras, 1933. I'm 70 years of age. All through my life, I had fun. I'm having fun now. Because what I said as a little boy, 14 years of age, I was walking in front of Miss Rites, Miss Louise Rites. The reason why I have to mention her name is because this woman is part of a matriarch system which I grew up with. Miss Rites, Miss Marin, Miss Ford, Miss Gambo, Miss Roulet, Miss Ford, Miss Marin. Oh, she was ferocious. All these women were ferocious. So when I grew up in Honduras 70 years ago, all I heard was the name of these women. I was working since I was 9. I didn't go to school because my grandmother didn't have anyone to help her. But in Latin America, when you're 9 and you're growing up with your grandmother, schooling, was okay, if you could go. Necessary. Not for me. It must have not been necessary because I didn't like it. And then my grandfather, being from Haiti, he tells my grandmother, this one would not go to school. They said, why? Gorillas doesn't take their cubs to be trained by polar bears. All right. Bengal tigers does not take their cubs to be trained by Siberian tigers. They train their cubs, their own cubs. But we, the cubs of Africa, we know everything beside our mother. And it is from that perspective that I talk. It is that from that very perspective that I build my premise, not on philosophy. Never. I never read Plato or Socrates or Diogenes. I didn't care about those folks.
That's right.
I'm an African. I didn't even care about Egypt. Why? Because what happened in Egypt 10,000 years ago, you can't use it now. You can't do anything with it. But talk about Nefertiti and Quintai and Ramses II and what we're going to do after that. Africa is beset with AIDS. No. Hepatitis C is eating Africa up more than any other disease. So as a little boy, in front of Miss Wright's house, I said, one day I will do something that would come in conflict with that which is believed. Why I said that, I don't know. I was 14. But I suppose it was generated in me because of my childhood, not growing up in school. And Richard telling me, when he showed me a book, he said, you are dunce. That's the word we use in Central America. You're dunce when you don't go to school. People have no respect for you. They believe that to think you have to go to school. Well, and especially speak English. Well, I know people that cannot speak English. I know one right now in Memphis. They call him Spaceman. Spaceman made a battery that lasts 28 years. It recharges itself in 21 minutes. The man doesn't know how to read nor write. I have the video of Spaceman. He came to see me. He said, you cured me of diabetes with herbs. Well, let me tell you what I did with herbs. I made a battery. Johnson grass, crabgrass, and clover. He mixed these grass together. I said, well, why did you select these tree grass? Because the lightning bug produces light. That's energy. And they're always on these tree grass. I'm just one of you. So when you say he cure AIDS, then you're saying we, the black race, cure AIDS. Not that this one, Sebi. I am you standing here. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not smarter than anybody else anyway. I don't want to be smart because that's a hell of a responsibility. And me, I like to play. I like playing, of course I do. We grown-ups, we have a tendency to lose the child that makes us happy. We lose it, never realizing why. Well, today you're going to know why. You know when your child turns against you and call you all kind of names and you think the child is bad? Like when Bert Boats, this is a white man that worked with me on a ship. We were both engineers. Oh yes, I'm a steam engineer, work right here in LA. At King Hospital, that's where everything began. And I wish that Gregory was here, but I forgot to tell him I was giving a speech today. Gregory McLemore and Bill Green. These are two individuals that plays a very important role in my life. Because Gregory worked at King Hospital with me when I said that I was going to heal. He said, you're crazy. Everybody says I'm crazy. But I seem to be always pursuing, regardless to the opposition. And not that I'm strong, because I'm not. I'm not strong and I'm not weak. I am me. I don't have to be strong or weak. Why can't I just be me? Well, in the me, this came out. The healing of the nations in 1960. I'm in the barber chair now. When I was 14, I said I would do something very important. In 1960, I'm 27 years of age. I'm in New Orleans, on Claiborne Avenue, talking to Tim. Hey, fellas, one day, I'm going to do something for the black woman. And what are you going to do? And why the black woman? I said, because we hate her and everybody else in the world hate her. We disrespect her. I said, I saw a man hit my mother. I took a machete. The intent was to cut his head off. But I just chopped him on his hand, on his arm, enough to let my mother know I have to leave this man because my son's going to kill him. And I would have killed this man. That's my mom. That's my mama. What you mean I'm 17, you can hit my mom in front of me? Man, I'm okay. I have to. Okay? So, you see, and I just saw the woman, you know, she was with me just about a month ago. She was 3 weeks spending with me. And look, it was right on time. My mom is 90, I'm 70. She had me when she was 20. She said, well, you finally grew up. I said, not yet. Because I'm still listening to you. In the barber chair in New Orleans, I said, I'm going to do something for the black woman. Not the brothers. And I'm one. I said, the black woman. Why I made that statement? Because I noticed how we call you, the names we call you, Sapphire, we call you all kind of stuff. We kick you, we slap you, we kiss you, we, oh God, everything. So there was a magazine, Ebony magazine, Narcisse, from Algiers, had a bunch of women around him. And he was talking to them, telling them whatever he thought he needed to tell them. I said, he's a fool. So why? Because he's talking to women. He can't tell a woman anything. He came out of one. So how could he tell a woman something? I mean, we came out of a woman. So how could we tell you something? That's the common sense I grew up with. That's the common sense that led me to the cure not only of AIDS. Curing AIDS is simple. Curing AIDS is like play to me. And it should be to you. What I'm about to do is what's going to frighten you, not the cure for AIDS. Getting to that stage was very easy. So in 1960, I told Tim and the rest of them that were there, Harry Nance, who's a drummer, he just passed. Harry was the first individual that mentioned a part of the human body to me. He said he was reading about the duodenum. I said, what is that? That's an orifice that sits under the stomach that joins the small intestines. Huh. And what you want to read that for? You a drummer. Then he talked about the thymus gland. We would always go to the barber and talk about these things that was unrelated to what we were doing, but we entertained them anyway. I came to LA, I passed the test with the county, I became a steam engineer. And it was because I was a steam engineer of the county was where health manifested. I was ashamed. I was ashamed because I didn't know that I would be in front of an audience talking about what I did at King Hospital as a steam engineer. I was embarrassed. Why? Because while working at King Hospital, I found why brothers that are healers are not healing. I found it. I'm not smarter than you. Well, if I'm healing, curing AIDS, can't you too? I must be doing something that others aren't doing. It's not that I'm smart. I'm doing something that we are overlooking. And it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing when a brother tells you to drink peppermint. And you come to me and say, well, Dr. So-and-so said I could take peppermint. Dr. So-and-so said I could eat garlic. Dr. So-and-so said I could drink soy milk. Now, how am I going to process all that inconsistency because you believe in it? You want me to tear it up? And then you get angry at me because you said, oh, he's talking about the brother now. But our life is at stake. We're not selling shoes here. You could change them anytime. This is your life. So when you come with a giving that addresses life, you have to come with something that is complete, not something incomplete. In other words, when you accept a particular way of life, that way of life has to contain in it all of the components of life. If it doesn't, you're in trouble. Whether religious, whether philosophical, if it does not contain, if it doesn't contain all the components, and one is missing, then you're in trouble. Whatever you accept, it has to be complete. That's the way God makes things complete. So I work at King Hospital. Gregory would say, why are you so indebted to these herbs? I said, they're calling me. Well, I don't know, and I don't question when I get that resonance. When I get that vibration, I'm just crazy. I go along with it. Remember, I'm the little boy that didn't go to school. He got a job as an engineer. He learned that when he was a merchant seaman on the job training. So he gets a job here in LA in 1970 with the county. As a steam engineer, you would think the boy that didn't go to school is working as a steam engineer, then he should be very happy. Boy, $2,700 a month, didn't go to school. I live 2 blocks away from the job. I walk to work. And I'm going to quit that. A wife and 2 babies, and she's pregnant. My co-worker said, you're stupid. I say, yes, I know I am. But I have to drown in my insanity because it is telling me to do this, and I have to satisfy me first. And that goes for you. But oftentimes we neglect ourselves because some philosophy or some leader said, do this. I listen to no leader. I have one leader, my mama. I only had one leader in my life, my mama. Because she gave me what I needed when I needed it most. When I was a baby, she let me suck her breast. She teach me everything I know. And then I'm going to take my body in front of somebody else. Then I've got to be crazy. Oh yes, I'm full of it today. Because it reverberates funny sometimes, you know, when you realize that you are the son of Africa. And that all your endeavor is for Africa. And then you go to Africa and they look at you like you're stupid. How do you think you feel? How do you think I feel? When I go to see all of your leaders, name them, I've been to him. And they look at me like I'm dumb. Religious and political. I visited them. So at King Hospital, because I had asthma at 30. I was 30 years with asthma. I was impotent. I had diabetes at 27. I was obese. I was angry. I hated the wife that loved me so very much. I didn't know it until 10 years after she left me. Because that's how dumb we get when we're sick. We get stressed. We can't see. We can't hear. Because we're sick. I was there. Marilyn left me. I began my search now for this journey that I was unaware of, this journey that is taking me into places that never before heard by me. But why I was able to see these things, because I don't worship China, and I don't listen to Europe. No, I'm not European, I'm not Chinese. I'm an African. So I turned my head to Africa. And what did I see? Oh my God, it was the answer to every problem in the world that black people are facing, from health to richness. It's from our fathers. From our fathers. We are violators and don't even know it, only because of one little item they call glucose. Glucose is the culprit. The Bible tells us, honor thy mother and thy father, thy days may be long upon the land. Well, when we read Plato, we're not honoring our mother and our father. We've just been derailed. We're not Europeans, we are African people. Whether we want to or not. And the Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father. That's right. The Bible also goes further to say that the herbs are for the healing of the nations. And then we listen to our preacher and we watch them when they get sick. Who do they go to? What is the message that we're sending to God Almighty? The Quran talk about the herbs. No, we get chemicals too. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Christian. Remember, I grew up in the Christian church, in the Seventh-day Adventist and the Anglican church, later to become a black Muslim, which I enjoy very much. But then there was something there that tells me, you have to leave.
That's right.
And I felt really bad because I was leaving behind brother that I love. Brother Marshall, Brother Dad William, Brother Rashid, Brother Akbar. This is a beautiful brother that I share a fish head with in New Orleans. We were young Muslims flexing our muscles because Elijah said, we're going to build our hospitals, we're going to build our churches, our schools, our everything. But that is what everybody tried to do. Be independent. Why not? We have the right to be independent. So at King Hospital, I said, well, I'm going to add something to the pot. The reason why I said that everything is simple, because it is. We always break things down to least common denominator. We have that ability. But when they jam philosophy in your face, opposed to common sense, philosophy is going to win. Why? Because it's palatable. It is scientific. Oh boy, it's like hearing Benedict Spinoza. When you read something and it takes on a different profile, the thing has changed its complexion, but the thing remains. Now, why do I have to read this? We're dying with, in Africa, it is what? Hepatitis C. So let us get into it now. Let us get into the journey as to how this came about, because the boy didn't go to school. And the boy didn't read any history books or any books on philosophy. The only books that I embraced were the books on herbs. And it was a Mexican that put me on the trail. I went to the black herbalist in New York. They didn't heal me. I went to the Chinese herbalist in San Francisco and in LA. They didn't heal me. My diabetes, my impotence, my blindness, my obesity was persisting. And I went to a Mexican. The one that we black people have a tendency to talk about sometimes. Well, because of him, I'm standing in front of you, healed. I'm Mexican. He said, you're dying. I said, I know that because I was going to the bathroom and I didn't reach there. I got up off the floor. He said, and you're disobedient, just like these Mexicans that are my brothers and sisters. You're not eating the food of your mother and your father. So your penalty that you're not going to eat for 90 days. At the ending of 90 days, I didn't have any disease though. And here I am in front of you at 70. I don't have anything. Don't have any pain or glasses on my eyes. I have no problem with sex or my nerve. All right? So when I went to work at King Hospital, there is Fred Takashita, there is Daniel Palmer, there is Gregory McLemore, and there's my boss. His name is Joe Peco. He's a black man from Louisiana. A beautiful man. Some of us hated him, I suppose, because he was black. And he's our boss. You know how we are. I love the man. The man was sweet. He's a Virgo. You got to be sweet. So as I worked there, I began to get these herbs together. Why these herbs? Herbs. You know, I told you guys that I said it in lectures that my herbal journey began with this Mexican man named Roosevelt Marin. Anybody here from Honduras? You are from Honduras. You're the only one, but you would know Roosevelt Marin. Anybody here from today? That's that. Roosevelt Marin. I'm driving from California to, wow, I'm in California. And I said, let me stop in New Orleans because my friends live here. And they told me about this one and the other one and the other one. Then they said, oh, you remember Roosevelt? I said, yes. He's in the hospital. He had a stroke on his left arm. Well, remember one of these ferocious women I mentioned, Miss Marin? Well, this is her son. And Miss Marin used to always great amount of food on his plate. And when I was in a ship with Roosevelt, I remember him eating this mound of food. We're the same age, we're 70. And Robert has a stroke. Believed that this was really happening. I've been hearing that this man, Heru, she said, what do you mean? 58, when we went to Brazil, he had, because this man didn't realize that. Yes, he told my